In this chapter, we're exploring the Beara Peninsula, which lies in County Kerry and County Cork. We've made good time on the road from Cashel, in spite of the rain. John takes us on a slight detour to one of his favorite places, Gougane Barra. It's a scenic valley in the Shehy mountains of County Cork. Waterfalls tumble down the rocky cliffs to a small lake. St. Finbar is said to have built a monastery on this island in the lake in the 6th century. There are ruins of a hermitage on the island dating from the 1700s. The chapel on the island dates to the 19th century and is a popular location for weddings. As the sun goes down and the rain picks up, we head to the Park Hotel in Kenmare, our home for 2 nights. In the morning, we set out on the Ring of Beara, a 92-mile-long road that follows the coast of the Beara Peninsula. The weather is unsettled, making for atmospheric pictures of the rocky coastline. The peninsula is a sparsely populated wild place, with only about 6,000 permanent residents. But its popularity is increasing with tourists, and we pass several holiday cottages. We stop at the little village of Allihies on the western tip of the peninsula to learn about copper mining in the area. The mines of Allihies produced almost 300,000 tons of ore between 1812 and 1884. 3 ruined Cornish engine houses are visible from the village. The most prominent is the Mountain Mine man engine house, built in 1862. And that's where we're headed with a local historian to learn about mining in the 19th century. The building sits over a mine shaft and housed a steam engine, which was used to raise and lower the miners into the mine. Hence, it's a man engine house. Other engine houses were used to lift the ore to the surface, where it was hauled to waiting ships to be carried to the Swansea smelter in Wales. Mining was a dangerous occupation, and the village cemetery is filled with miners who didn't make it home from the mine. Today there are warning signs and fenced areas, since mine collapses are still a risk. The sheep wander in and out of the fenced areas, oblivious of the risk. The mountain mine copper vein was discovered in 1813. The turquoise green in the rock is copper ore. Miners attacked the copper-bearing quartz with hammer, chisel, and gunpowder. Before steam engines, buckets of ore were manhandled to the surface, where women and children had the task of crushing the ore and sorting the copper from the quartz. Today, the view from the engine house is outstanding. But the miners would spend dawn to dusk in the dark mine, not appreciating the wildflowers that cover the hillside. After the introduction of steam engines to move men and ore, the valley was probably cloaked in smoke from the engines most of the year. In the late 19th century, new sources of copper ore were being worked in Africa, Australia, and the Americas. The price of copper fell, and the mines were closed in 1884. This area saw a large-scale immigration, with miners finding their way to mining centers in the United States and Canada. We walk back to Allihies on the same road that miners took as they returned from their 12-hour shifts in the mines. We meet John at the van and head across the peninsula to Bantry Bay, and then up the coast to our next adventure on Garnish Island. Glengarf sits on the northern end of Bantry Bay. The Harbor Queen will take us to Garnish Island. On the way, we're entertained by a colony of harbor seals. In 1910, Garnish Island was purchased by John Bryce, an English businessman who made his money in India and Burma. He had a dream of retiring to an island paradise. From 1910 to 1914, Harold Peto designed and built gardens with inspirations from all over the world. lawn looks like an English village green. The sunken garden could be in Italy. There are Greek temples strategically placed with great views. The jungle showcases native and exotic species. The walled garden is densely planted in English cottage garden style. The Bryce house was originally conceived as a gardener's cottage, but after plans for a mansion were scrapped, it was enlarged and became the home of the Bryce family until the death of the last owner, Roland Bryce, in 1953. When he bequeathed the island to the Irish nation. Today, the 37 acres of Garnish Island are maintained by the Office of Public Works. We take the last boat back to Glengarf, past a heron and the harbor seals. Now John takes us across the peninsula, back to Kenmara and the Park Hotel. It's been a busy day, and we're ready to relax and get ready for another busy day tomorrow.